Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to return to Poland and we're going to revisit the brewery I told you about a few videos ago. This is the one that's run by the Benedictine monks. So we're going to go to Produkty Benedyktynskie and we're having a taste of another one of their beers today. This one is the Przeora Ciemne, which is a Dunkel style beer, and if you've watched my channel before you will know that I really do enjoy a nice German Dunkel. This one's from Poland of course, but they are brewing beers pretty much in the German style, these guys. So this one should be really nice. Thank you once again to Robert and Dominika for this beer. Robert, of course, is Dominika's cousin. He bought this one for me and then she brought it to Sweden. I really enjoyed the first one that I had and I'm sure this one will be the same. And I do have one of the other ones to review for you in a few videos time. So I hope you're enjoying the Polish Beer Month and I hope you guys are all enjoying these beers from Produkty Benedyktynskie. This one should be really nice as well. I really enjoyed the Viennese lager one, the Opata. That was really good. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery and the monastery in this case. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I'll do from Produkty Benedyktynskie, and there's all the usual social media things down there, Facebook, Twitter and Untappd, so please follow me on there. Your support would be much appreciated, and if you do want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. I also apologise in advance for any bad Polish pronunciations in this video. No doubt there will be some, but I hope you guys can stick with me in spite of that, and please do get in touch from Poland and let me know some of your favourite beers and breweries that you would like me to have a look at, and hopefully I can visit those fairly soon. But anyway, to tell you about Produkty Benedyktynskie, so this company are associated with the Tyniec Benedictine Monastery in Krakow, and Tyniec used to be a separate village, but it's now actually part of Krakow city, and it has been officially since 1973. But the abbey is thought to have been founded by King Casimir the Restorer in 1044, and it's located on the right bank of the Vistula River, about 12 kilometres to the southwest of Krakow city centre. But in ancient times it was actually an important trade stop on the trade routes to Moravia and Bohemia, but the monastery was started by the Benedictines upon invitation by the King of Poland, who really wanted to shore up the position of church and state within Poland. But apparently some historians will also argue that the monastery was in fact founded by Casimir's son Borislav II, who was known as the Generous. But the abbey buildings have been remodelled, having been destroyed like various times throughout history. Some of them were destroyed during the raids of the Tatars, some of them during the raids of the Czech, and there was also some during the Swedish invasion, which I believe was the 30 Years' War, and they were also destroyed a little bit during the Bar Confederation, which was when the Polish kind of resisted Russification during the period known as the Deluge. But the abbey itself was dissolved by Austria-Hungary in 1816, and it was actually part of the seat of the Bishop of Tyniec, Grzegorz Ziegler, from 1821 to 1826. But even though it kind of became religious again, the monks didn't return until 1939, and they began to renovate the monastery in 1947. But in 1968, the church was once again dedicated, by 1968 I should say, the church was once again dedicated to Peter and Paul, and the renovated buildings are partly Baroque style buildings and also some Gothic style buildings too. And today the monastery is apparently the oldest one in Poland that is still operating. But as part of their current operation, they produce several kind of different products there. They've got herbs, foods, drinks and cosmetics. Apparently there's a bit of a history with this monastery as being a medical centre. They used to have a herb garden where they would grow things that were medically significant and they would help out the local population. But today they also produce cider, wine, liqueurs, beer, vodka and mead. The mead apparently is supposed to be really good, and I have to admit I have enjoyed the beers I've had from them so far. So yeah, if you are interested in sort of gourmet food or monk made food, then I guess Produkty Benedyktynskie in Krakow is somewhere that you want to have a look at, or Tyniec I should say. So hopefully I can go and see it actually when I go to Krakow. I really enjoyed my time in Warsaw, so I'm sure I will go back and check out like Poznan and Gdansk and Krakow and all of these places. It would be really nice to go back and have a look at these. But yeah, if you're interested in reading more about the brewery or indeed about the monastery itself, then do go and check out the brewery website. All of the beers incidentally are brewed under contract at Browar Furman, which is in Polchin-Zdrój, I believe you would pronounce it, which is actually somewhere between Gdansk and Szczecin. When Dominika gave me this beer, I actually thought it would be from their region because they're from Gdansk. But it is brewed up there, although the actual monastery that it's associated with is from Krakow, which is way in the south of the country. So yeah, to list the other beers you can get from these guys, I've reviewed another one of these for you. There's the Opata, which is a Viennese style lager. There's Tyniec, I guess you would call it. There's also the Benedyktynskie, which is the other one I'm going to review for you soon. And there's this guy here, which is the Przeora, which is a nice German style Dunkel beer. So as I mentioned to you before, this guy is a 4.5% Dunkel beer, and we'll get it open and get on with the tasting. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. These beers are really quite nicely presented actually. I do like the labels on these. They're quite kind of classic, if you like. So yeah, as you can see, Piwo Przeora Ciemne. Not sure what the exact translation of that is. I don't speak Polish, unfortunately. It would be quite useful to do it because Poland is a really quite nice place. You can see it's got this nice foil top on it, and you can see on the back there it tells you a little bit just about the beer, and it is in Polish, but I'm not even going to try to read that because Polish is one of these languages where it sounds absolutely nothing like it looks. I've got major respect for people, as I've said many a time, I've got major respect for people who actually choose to learn Polish because it's one of the most difficult languages around actually. So yeah, as you can see, there's a nice smoky opening on this beer. You can see some of it just coming out there, but let's get it out and into the glass. Really interested to try this one. Thank you once again to Robert and Dominika for providing this beer for me, and I hope you guys watching in Poland enjoy the review. So anyway, as you can see, this beer is poured a really nice dark, it actually looks more like a stout if I'm honest. It doesn't look quite like a Dunkel. It looks to me more like a stout, but if you hold it up to the light you start to get some of the mahogany edge to this beer. It's definitely a sort of rosewoody ebony colour, and there's a half finger of a frothy beigey cream coloured head. It looks really really nice, but on first look it really does look more like a stout. If I've shined the light over it, it does get a bit more rubyish in colour. Not sure how well you can see that in the video right enough, but it really does look a little bit more ruby and more a kind of mahogany colour, which is what you expect from a Dunkel beer, of course. Dunkel in German literally means dark, and I think they call it a Twarmy in Polish and in Czech. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, it looks very nice. Looks a bit darker than some of the ones you'd expect. There's a few big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass here, but quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head, and the head incidentally has faded away just to be a very thin foamy layer. So let's take a look at the aroma on this one before we get stuck in. So without sugaring it up too much, you've got a nice roasted caramel malt in there, which is exactly what you would expect from a Dunkel style beer. It's quite roasted, maybe even a little bit of treacle in there, but it does smell very roasted. There's some kind of sweeter chocolate as well, which is really nice, but you can smell the German bread, and there's a little bit, you can really smell the syrupy character of this beer. It really does smell nice. It does smell a bit like honey actually. There's a bit of that kind of distinctive honey note rather than caramel out of this beer. When you sugar it up a bit more though, it does start to smell more like a caramel than a honey. You can get a nice bready malt out of this as well. This one's a lot more malty than the Opata was, incidentally. The Opata did have a distinct hop note to it, but this one really does lean towards the malt. If there's any hops coming out of this, then it would have to be earthy hop. There's not a grassy or floral character coming out of this one as far as I can detect. This is definitely a malt forward beer. So as I said, there's a distinct honey note to this one, but you can get some of the slightly richer and less sharp kind of treacle and caramel out of this beer. There may well be a little bit of chocolate. It's quite toasted in the aroma as well, but there's a nice bready malt base with this one. It's really quite well done actually. It smells really nice. So as I always say, just take a little bit of time to smell the beers before you get stuck in, because in this one you can actually pick up a little bit of a slightly leathery, woody, nutty note coming out of this beer too. So just take a little bit of time before you actually try this one. So let's get stuck into this beer then. This is the Piwo Przeora from Produkty Benedyktynskie in Krakow, or Tyniec, I guess I could say, near Krakow in Poland. Na zdrowie, slanges we would say in Scotland, skål from Sweden. Now that beer is really quite sweet actually. This is really nice. You can hear the drunk Swedes outside my window. I'm filming this beer review for you just before I go to bed, and you always get a few drunk Swedes going past the window just after midnight. They don't handle their drink very well. But yeah, you can taste the real nice malty characters in this beer. You can get the nice bready malt base in this one. It just goes right across the middle of the palate. And the sugars in this one, the brown sugars that come out, actually, they actually just build on top of that nice bready malt base. It's quite dark actually. But there is a distinct character of honey there. But yeah, this is really nice actually. I actually shouldn't say that the Swedes can't hold their drink, it's the students that can't hold their drink, but in fairness in Lund, there's a lot of people of various nationalities, so it's not necessarily the Swedes that are being crazy. Swedes are generally quite reserved people. But yeah, this is really nice beer. I mean, it's another, I was very impressed with their Viennese lager, the Opata, and this one is really nice as well. So if you get the chance, try these beers. These are really nice and really quite malty beers. They are, I would say, they are quite malt forward. The Opata had a bit more hop character in this one, but this one is definitely dominated by the malt. But yeah, this is really nice. I have to admit, I do enjoy this beer. I'm not picking up the chocolate in this one that I was picking up from the aroma. This one's definitely, as I say, you've got that nice kind of a rye bread malt base there, and all these sweet things are building on top. But you've got a little bit of biscuit. There's some woody, kind of nutty, almost leathery notes in this beer as well. But yeah, it's really nice, but there's a distinct note of honey in this beer. Usually that's quite hard to pick up actually, but this beer tastes as if almost as if it's actually had honey added to it. You can always tell the difference between malt and sort of additions to the beer. It's the same with hops. Like if you get a grapefruit flavour from the hop and you actually add grapefruit peel or orange or something like that to the beer, you can always tell the difference just because it's a bit more juicy, and adding honey to the beer almost makes that a little bit more. It makes it just a little bit less rich, but a bit more kind of wet and juicy, and I really think they've added some honey to this beer. But nevertheless, it is really nice. So around the edges of the palate, there is a little bit of an earthy hop character. It does become a bit smoother and a bit more grassy as you go around the front curve of the tongue there. But overall, it is really quite nice actually. I have to admit, I've been impressed with both of the beers I've tried from these guys now, so I might go and stick the third one in the fridge and review it for you quite quickly. But yeah, that's a really nice beer. I mean, I would recommend this to people who, for example, like honey beers, or if you like mead, I can see you enjoying this beer. If you expect a Dunkel to be a bit more sort of bready and a bit more kind of a bit less sweet, this is actually on quite a sweet. This is quite a sweet Dunkel beer. This, so do be aware of that if you try it. If you like your Dunkel beers to be a bit more dark or a bit more bready, something like that, you might not enjoy this one so much. But if you enjoy sweet beers, like very very malty beers, honey beers, Bloemen beer for example, from Belgium, then you will enjoy this one. It does have a nice sort of meaty character to it actually. But yeah, and actually for being 4.5%, it does taste as if it's got a little bit more booze in it, and to be honest, I would say maybe a Dunkel beer should have a little bit more booze, but in fairness, the Germans do brew a lot of beers around 4.5–5%, so I guess for this Polish brewery, they're probably just following that lead, I guess. But yeah, it's very nice. There's no real fruity notes in this one or anything. It's all about the malt. As I say, bready malt base, almost like a German style rye bread malt base. On top of that, there's some sweet caramel in there. You can get the woody, kind of nutty, almost leathery flavours just blending in with that. And there's a nice kind of addition of honey. You can feel the distinct honey flavours come out in this beer. A little bit of earthy hop and slightly more smooth and grassy as you go round the front part of the palate there. Overall, like I say, a really nice Dunkel beer for me, but you probably won't enjoy this one if you don't like Dunkel beers to be too sweet. It is quite on the sweet side of things. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this beer, I would say it's mid-bodied. Carbonation is quite smooth, you know, typical German style carbonation on this one. I keep saying German style, but you have to remember it is a Polish beer. But you get the smooth carbonation that you would expect from this style of beer. There's a little bit of oily character to it as well. The malts are very, very sweet. There is a bit of toasted character to them, but that doesn't add much dryness to the beer. As you move into the aftertaste, the hops do have a little bit of dryness around the front curve of the tongue. You can pick up just a little bit of the grassy and slightly floral character coming out of these hoppy beers, but you know, overall it is actually really quite nice. I have to admit, I've enjoyed this beer. I enjoyed the Opata that I reviewed for you before, so I'm quite looking forward to reviewing the other one that I've got in the cupboard again. So once again, thank you very much to Dominika and to Robert for providing me with this beer. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review as well. But as always, do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Always cool to review new beers from Poland. Do get in touch and let me know some of the other Polish beers and brews that you would like me to have a look at. I hope you're enjoying this Polish beer series. So until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out my social media things, but most importantly, go and check out Produkty Benedyktynskie in Krakow, or Tyniec I should say, in Krakow in Poland. Yeah, go and enjoy it and go and try some of their beers. If you like the German style beers and you like quite sweet beers, you will enjoy the stuff that they're producing. Slange just now, and I'll catch you soon. Na zdrowie.